In the top left corner, the red Zerg, Jaco. And in the bottom right corner, the blue Terran on the attack. And this match is a grudge match outside of the tournament structure. Jaco has just dropped his series against On the Attack 0-4. 4 losses, and Jaco was really rattled, and he insisted that he get one more crack at On the Attack today. So this is not part of the tournament. It's just another game for fun. Jaco really kind of a little bit down on himself that he dropped 4 games to On the Attack. He was really expecting to walk all over Attack, to be honest, since he's the Diamond 2 player and On the Attack is a Platinum 2 player. Maybe if Jaco can try to macro a bit harder, he can get himself in a better position instead of insisting on these early busts that aren't quite working out for him. But Jaco also has to be careful about throwing his army into the ATAC meat grinder, so to speak. ATAC is a specialist at placing those buildings just in the right spot, where trading with Roach Hydra or even Roach Ravager is just so inefficient against a well-fortified tank line. And he's really been getting value in those situations, despite mining less than Jaco in many of these games. We see here, On the Attack should really be saving up money for that orbital command. Perhaps even before the supply depot. And now the orbital comes up. Not a big deal, especially at this level. Jaco's pool coming up, standard stuff. CC on the low ground again for On the Attack. And we just know that he's not expecting a 12 pool or anything like that from Jaco. Jaco hasn't shown a propensity to do that so far. So it feels like he can get away with this, CC on the low ground. Because he knows that if there is link pressure, it's likely going to come after the 3-minute mark. Jaco here. Pumping out a couple links. Probably just to protect against a Reaper. And On the Attack, of course, like the other games, a factory coming down behind the barracks, a second barracks coming up. He's done a good job so far this game of spending his money. Both players have. They're not pooling too much, although it's still very early. We can see here a delayed injection by Jaco. He's got 11 extra energy. Could have also put a creep tumor, because now he's going to have an excess of larva. 2 gas up over here. I'm not quite sure why Jaco did that. I mean, he's taking the gas early. He's getting a super early lair. So maybe that's why. He's got some kind of early lair build. Is it early Muta? Getting the 2 gas from the Muta. Let's see. This drone looks like it wants to build something. Roach Warren going down. And maybe all that extra gas is for some kind of Ravager play he has in mind. Because that's definitely some aggressive posture. Normally as a Zerg you want to saturate both mineral lines at least before taking your second gas. You want to snowball your minerals so you can keep pumping drones. And then queens. And he's taking these 2 gas even also. So he's up to 4 gas here while there's only 9 mineral drones. So he's going a super gas heavy build, sacrificing his economy a little bit for tech. Let's see if it works. Meanwhile, On the Attack, building that second tank now. A tank in perfect position to defend. He's got the bunker down, just kind of blind countering Stefan's tendencies. He knows that there's a decent likelihood that Jaco is going to come up in here and try to have some kind of baneling assault. But this time, Jaco getting the 3rd base, droning up. He's up to 42 drones. On the Attack only at 30 SCVs right now. Of course, mules make up a bit of the difference, but it's a sizable drone advantage right now, or worker advantage for Jaco. And look at this. A 4th base at 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Super early 4th base. I really like this play from Jaco. He's gone completely into the macro direction. But the only thing I don't quite understand is this super gas heavy build. that's arrested the saturation of this third base with minerals. That could really snowball his opening, because 4 hatcheries, it's quite mineral expensive in minerals, so he needs all the minerals he can get to make this work. But I'm not sure what he's pooling all this gas for. He's got 936 gas. Spore colony goes down. Double Evo chamber. And on the attack, just slowly but surely fortifying his position. I would like to see a third CC being built. Because right now, on the attack is just falling behind in the base count. Jaco all the way up to 4 bases to 2 right now. And there's not even a third orbital on the way. Both players haven't really gotten aggressive with each other. Jaco has basically no army. He's just been droning. He's got a couple queens. And on the attack could really just march across the map right now and put some serious pain on Jaco. Because it's 39 SCVs to 60 drones. And literally Jaco has 2 Zerglings and 3 queens. Just now, 2 roaches starting. But ATAC could literally A-move across the map and make Jaco pay. But on the ATAC, he kind of has a slow, grindy, campy style. He could definitely benefit from a little bit more intel to identify what's going on. And just as I say that, Jaco wisely making 2 overseers. He needs to get some intel as well. Personally, I would have morphed this one here and flown it out, put a changeling in the base and scout this. You never know if it's BCs or Banshees that can just blindside you, but luckily for Jaco, it's nothing too crazy from on the attack. Just a standard tank, stim build with a starport behind it. Third CC has started, but it's late. I mean, we're at 7 minutes now. It's not even fully built. On the attack, moving onto the map. And Jaco here now spending that gas bank, but he still has a sizable gas bank. Probably too much gas mine too early, to be honest. And he's building Ravagers. That's the plan. So some kind of Ravager bust is going to be his goal, most likely. Queen here is pooling energy. I'd like to see some shift clicking injects from Jaco, because he misses them sometimes. And then when he does it with a queen with a lot of energy, he should just queue up 4 injects and spend that energy. Because we know that he's had trouble being consistent with his inject cycles. This is a very Ravager-heavy build. Normally, you want your Ravagers being about 33%, no more, of your total Roach Ravager army. But Jaco here going for a very heavy Ravager count. Let's look at the units. Yep, 11 Roaches and 11 Ravagers. So 50% Ravager composition. Which is very interesting. He's going to rely on those Corrosive Biles. And looks like he's trying something aggressive. And just now, the Orbital Command completing. Tank starts firing. Jaco coming in here. Throw some biles down. These 3 tanks are expertly positioned to get value. And Jaco's having trouble getting past the Marine Marauder line to fire onto these tanks. And Jaco coming back in again. But on the attack just moves out of the biles. And the tanks are just going to town. But that's what ATAC doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to trade outside the tank fire. And now Jaco backing up, knowing that he doesn't have enough to really break it right now. And Jaco did a great job getting up to 4 bases early in the game. But now he's been sitting on 4 bases for the last 4 minutes. And just now these 2 gases are being taken on his 4th. And he's pooling 1,100 minerals. So he could definitely take a 5th. And maybe even a greedy 6th. Because he's got to spend those minerals in the bank. But behind this, he's playing smart. He's putting a bit of pressure on. He's not overcommitting. He's got 69 drones to 45 SCVs. 4 bases to now, just now landing the 3rd at 9 minutes for Dan ATAC. So what's the rush really for Jaco? Is my question. But regardless, he feels like he has an army advantage, which he does. And he poked up the ramp, and now he's backing out. A very high Ravager count compared to the Roaches. And, you know, you need some Roaches to tank the damage. They are armored units. They have a little bit more HP than the Ravagers. But the Ravager force coming forward here, and the bio is just shredding through this pure Ravager. Oh man, the Ravagers are going down. Some decent bios being landed by Jaco and the Medvacs and bio, but I mean, we have a lot of wounded Ravagers here. Should just run back. No Roaches to tank this damage. This bio is going to slice through the Ravagers. And again, ATAC just staying patient and now capitalizing on a bit of a misplay by Jaco. But hold on here. Jaco getting some value from these roaches, catching these tanks out. But does not want to walk into this line here and runs out this way. You have a bit of a fight going down here. The roaches trading against the marauders. Let's see what's going on at home for Jaco. He put a spire behind this. A drone transfer could be useful on the ATAC. One factory, 2 starports. Interesting. And building a medvac out of this Tech Lab starport. I'm not sure if that's optimal. But he feels like he needs to replace or beef up his medvac count. Mule being dropped here, I'd imagine, for repairs. And let's see here. Jaco. Still sticking to the Roach Ravager for now. He's got 1-1. 2-2 on the way. Let's look at OntheAtack's upgrades. Also 1-1. So we have some parity here. Overlord. Doing a good job getting a bit of information. Oh, there's a fight here. Oh, some Marauders just out of no man's land, to be honest, without any support getting taken out by Jaco. But he's eating a lot of tank fire from this cliff tank. And no Overseer with the army for the Roach Ravager, so they cannot see the tank on the cliff and then therefore launch some biles. And he walks back into them again. What is going on here? Okay, now he goes up, lands the bile. Corruptors can give a bit of vision now, but he does not have the numbers, and Jaco wisely turns back. Now the 5th is going down for Jaco. And it looked like Jaco was in a commanding position earlier on in the game, but now this is a very even game, I'd say, because ATAC has been very cost efficient. And even though he's been mining less, that's like the theme of this series, even though he's been cost inefficient. He's been making it work, and just now, actually. Although the Terran is definitely mining less gas, it's pretty close in minerals. Or at least was while those mules were active. OntheAtack definitely needs to saturate this mineral line and put a 4th down. We're at 12 minutes here. And it's starting to get to the point where he's pooling money. So let's get a 4th going. And start spamming those late game orbital commands. Jaco here. Jockeying for position. He's got some Muta Corruptor. Interesting unit choice. He wants to shut down those medvacs and ravens. Well, thinking about it, I would like a 2-prong assault. Half his army here, half his army here. Collapse into here. That's how you set up attacks with Zerg. But Jaco just coming through one side. If he goes up that ramp, it's going to be trouble. Let's see if the corrosive biles are good. The biles take out a tank. Takes out a 2nd tank. Roaches in the back coming in. Oh my god. Again, Jaco with the perplexing microbial shroud. The Infestor is probably messing up his Ravager Bile hotkey, and then instead of a fungal, a Shroud goes down. And just like in the first game, I believe, or in their pre-series game, rather, the Microbial Shroud error, probably just an F2 with everything grouped together, and therefore the Microbial Shroud takes over the C button from the Corrosive Bile from the Ravagers. And that's a huge mistake, because your Infestors aren't getting value, and nor are you getting value with your Biles, and you're going up a ramp. Very tough. It's got to be mentally draining for Jaco. He's on the back foot now. Actually doing a good job of gunning down these medevacs with his high corruptor count. He's got to be careful that he's got units on the ground too to fight this. The bio trading out decent, focusing the Ravager. More bio coming up here. They're staggering forward. And the corruptor moving away. Maybe a bit of an overmaking of the corruptors. He's got to give up this base now. More roaches coming out. Hive tech coming for Jaco. Needs a drone transfer to this base as well, but his APM is being taxed by ATAC's assault. We do have a base coming down here. Well, it's built rather, but it's got to get up and running. And Jaco has a sizable bank, but if these bases don't get saturated, they'll dry up very quickly. Here's the transfer. Oh, actually, transfer those from somewhere else. Still has some in the main that could go to this position down here. The 7 o'clock position. And Jaco here is kind of reeling after losing a base. Orbital. Could be good. And then land these OntheAtack has kind of clawed his way back into this game here. Let's look at the units lost tab. And you see the efficiency for OntheAtack. Over 2-to-1 efficiency. That is just crazy. Sorry, almost 2-to-1 efficiency, but still, that is very efficient for the Terran player. But Jaco here, not deterred. He's just bulldogging in the middle. High Ravager count again, but this time at least he's got a good 30 roaches with him. And the Corruptors run in. Oh, they could definitely goop down a base here with that caustic spray if they're on their own control group. And that would help the speed of taking out these orbitals. Or even take out this orbital and stretch ATAC's multitasking. But they're there to at least clean it up when it lifts. Nice concave here for Jaco. The biles go down on the tanks, but OntheAtack with another army on the side. Kind of smashing this. Where is he? I don't know. This is a close fight. The Roach Ravager is winning here. These two tanks are not spread, and they'll be taken out easily by the biles. And look at this. Jaco is put OntheAtack in a defensive position. OntheAtack is battered and bruised here. And look at this. Has Jaco done it? That was a crippling assault. And just when I thought ATAC might have been clawing his way back in this game, Jaco shut it down. Corruptors took out the medvacs. And it was just enough Roach Ravager to overwhelm OntheAtack. 3-3 coming. And it's hard to see how ATAC can claw his way back in this 76 supply to 177. Look at the supplies. Jaco didn't like how that series ended with Dan ATAC. And will he now finally get his revenge? He wants to make sure that he's ready to go in. But to be honest, he could go in at any time right now and just squash this army. ATAC decides to go out into the map, thinking maybe he needs to make something happen here because he's been on the back foot too long. And now the army kind of turns around. Oh, that was a bit of a blunder by ATAC. He got impatient and then did the turnaround. And now it's kind of awkward sieging these tanks into position. And too many Ravagers, in my opinion. Let's see here. Oh, the Bio's doing a good job against this Ravager count. Some of the Roaches were attacking below, but I don't know if it's enough. OntheAtack here does have his third landed, though. Look at this. Jaco busting things down. Now the caustic spray comes out momentarily. And OntheAtack just getting beaten up, really. Great job by Jaco here coming back. He learned the lessons of the series he had with OntheAtack. He was making some mistakes. And although some mistakes were made this game, he did a much better job at macroing up behind his pushes. Not overcommitting with horrible fights into tight chokes. He pulled back from that ramp a few times. And he basically out-expanded Dan ATAC. Let's look at the upgrades here. We do have 3-3 for OntheAtack, but we have it also for Jaco. And OntheAtack's a fighter. He doesn't want to give up. But I'm just not sure if he can pull it out. Actually, I'm positive that he can't at this point. Because you're a 1-base Terran against a 7-base or whatever Zerg. Jaco at 94 supply, OntheAtack 25 supply. He can GG at any point. The last two Marauders go down. And the orbital getting flown out here. Come on, ATAC. Well, ATAC does not want to take his first L to Jaco. And he's got confidence. He figures he can pull something out of his hat again. But I just think this is too steep here. Trying to sucker Jaco into a fight, but he just doesn't have the numbers. It's just ridiculous at this point. And well done for Jaco. Coming back, picking up on his weakness, and improving in areas where he needed to improve to beat on the attack. And it's too bad he had to lose his bracket to figure this out, but he's grown better from this series, for sure. And he's corrected a lot of his mistakes. Good game to Jaco. You're victor.